January to June, 3.36 trillion naira subsidy budget. NNPCL hikes pump price to 557 naira per liter. NNPCL hikes pump price to 557 naira per liter. Transport fares skyrocket. NIC threatens to discontinue dialogue. Manufacturers back Tinubu. Still on that, we still have this caption. Economic related one. China pledges increased economic cooperation with Nigeria. Ubasani assures improved support for crime fight. Nigeria's tax to GDP now 10.86%. LTD tobacco kills 8 million globally annually, coming from World Health Organization. Don't go outside APC manifesto. NWC wants new governors. Also emerges Progressive Governors Forum chairman. Let's take a look at this. Nigerians to Tinubu. Where is January to June 3.36 trillion naira subsidy target? We were told that the removal of all subsidy will commence by the end of June. So why is it happening now? And has adequate preparation been made towards this? What's your view?
Well, if we recollect that towards the end of the immediate president, he was continually borrowing money, saying that the economy was not in good shape. There's one thing for budget for something, there's another thing for cash backing to implement that budget. It might be there that up to the end of the June. But reality is that when you don't have the cash to back it up, what do? You face the reality. And that's what we are saying. But to me, I also believe that you ought not to have announced immediately upon being sworn in. At least we give some reprieve to Nigerians who have already been battered economically and otherwise. Not just immediately you go there and you announce that you are removing subsidy. And now there is not even the task force to ensure that these marketers, the sidelock one, the greedy one, they are put under control. Even up to yesterday, they were selling 1,000 per liter in Mboyi. Some places 700. Various all kind of manners of prices. So if you have a government that is on ground, if you want to do that, that means you must have other regulators on ground that will ensure that at least the increase is not too worrisome and on Nigerians. Those are the areas that they have to do something. That's
NNPCL hikes pump price to 557 naira per liter. How will you react to this increase?
Even in their own.
What are the likely impacts on Nigerians and the economy?
Not only Nigerians, but even non-Nigerians. Everyone that is on the planet called Nigeria. You have to bear the multiplier effects, the ripple effects, the increase in the price of goods and services, the demand for increment in salary by the workers, and so many other implications for our nation. So even the NNPC, hardly can you get the so-called 550 naira per liter be implemented. When you get there, they will say maybe there is no petrol, no PMS, and they have announced theoretically that it is that kind of amount of money. How are they going to implement it? This is Nigeria. Some of them are even ordering the petroleum in their tank, and they have. So
NNPCL has come up with a new pricing template, which indicates a new price regime for petroleum products across the nations. That's what they have just come now. Why dialogue between Labour and the federal government is ongoing? Do you think, what's your take on the timing? Because the Labour has described it as an ambush. What's your position? How best can the issue be handled?
To me, as I said, they have been mounting it before even the lesson was conducted. That they are going to remove the subsidy. Exactly. Even when we recollect all the presidential candidates, including Atiku, Obi said the subsidy will not. But what we are saying that you should have something on ground to reduce the level of the costing the effect of the move on the people. You should have it on ground. If you want to do it drastically like this, you must also plan ahead proactively. Okay, we are going to ensure that it is being sold within 400 or 350 or at most 450. But when you are now announcing 500 something naira, even your own depot, there will be queue. People will not get the petroleum. So what do you expect the private sector to do?
The manufacturers are backing Tinubu and some other stakeholders for taking that decision. Said it is better to face the ugly menace once and for all and overcome it. What do you think government should have put in place as a relief package
now
for Nigerians?
They said that that of Dangote will start by July, mass production. Why can't you defer this thing to July? At the end of by June now, this is just 30 days. By early July, you start it so that when you have Dangote producing fully on ground maximum production, it will make a kind of a competition between all these marketers. But now it is only the existing one that are still importing. What is the maximum production of the so-called refineries we have? About 4 of them. It is now up to 5%. You cannot supply from the ordinary government establishments, not to talk of the whole of Nigeria. So the greatest majority of people, they are the casualty now.
All right. China pledges increased economic cooperation with Nigeria. That's China. It promised increased economic cooperation with Nigeria. China has been one of a nation that has been a friend of the country of Nigeria. In partnership, we have a good relations with them. What do you think Nigeria should do to take advantage of the opportunities of these better relations for improved economy in the country?
China has been a country that invests heavily in Africa, not only in Nigeria, but Nigeria is their main target, their main market. But the issue is that for how long our leaders will prepare, that how are we going to benefit from cooperation with this Chinese government and some other foreign countries? Our own local industries are not revived. If they bring their country, their investment here, for example, they are here to make profit. They are here to repatriate their own foreign currency back to their country. The best way we can benefit is to even ensure that we partner with them in the areas where we don't have enough materials in terms of expertise and resources. But where we have our own materials, is for them even to come and say, okay, we want to export to our country. But by this time we have a lesson whereby they are participating in kind of 80%, they are only contributing 20%. That cooperation, eventually they will be the beneficiary of it.
What do you think? Are you Nigeria partners with China in the area of production or power generations? What does the country stand to benefit?
Yes, there are so many states in Nigeria where you can generate electricity, for example. So you don't need to wait until you do your own, what they call the national grid. Chinese people can come here and set up electricity plants. If it is working effectively, it's a matter of just collecting tax from them. But by the time you are now saying, okay, you want to build your own, you are spending money. At the end of the day, the money is being invested or the project is being abandoned at the middle of the road. Then you wasted the money. Let these people that have the expertise, let them come and establish for you. Get them to agreement, employ your people, then you tax them.
And by employing Nigerians, they are also
they are contributing to the economy of the states.
All right, let's take some of the captions from the Vanguard newspaper. Petrol above 500 naira per litre as subsidy removal takes effect. Petrol above 500 naira per litre as subsidy removal takes effect. NNPCL confirms hike. Adjust pumps nationwide. You have adjusted pumps nationwide. Borno, Yobe most expensive states with 557 per litre. Lagos remains least with 488 naira per litre. The regulations will enhance growth coming from NATI. Federal government's meeting with NICTUC ends in deadlock. That is over oil subsidy removal. Meeting to reconvene on Sunday as Labour leaders meet Friday. Federal government should rehabilitate refineries. NECA, APC governors back Tinubu on subsidy removal. Say Atiku Obi also promised same like you have just submitted. Now let's look at federal government should rehabilitate refineries coming from NECA, and that's the position of the Labour also. What's your view about that?
Every reasonable Nigerians know that. For example, you are producing palm oil in the local area here. You have what they call ECU. You have they produce a fish palm oil. It is very less costlier for you to do it in your own refinery there, the local ECU, than to now go to a faraway place. In terms of cost, the product will be very volatile in terms of price. So if you don't revamp your refineries, if you cannot revamp the concessionate, partner with your private individuals, just like Dangote has their own. There are some people that can still contribute with government, and you're private together. So at most, you sell it off. If you want to sell it off and build another one, if just only two you have, that is very viable. Then you have competitions. But this idea of taking the crude oil abroad and refining it, even it does not pay anybody.
All right. Presidential Tribunal, Tinubu APC opposed tendering of evidence from Beavers. I think the opposition candidates, they were about to tender their evidence in court and it was opposed. What's your take?
Yeah, they have their reason because just like in Osun State here, the one generated from the back-end server was opposed by the respondents. The primary source is the machine. So if they have the reason that the one given to them by the
this one is being generated from papers.
This one is also more or less from paper. So the reason for their objection will be taken at the last stage of the judgment.
All right. 10th National Leadership Omishore G6 meeting ends in deadlock. Let me also proceed to the Punch newspaper. And from that, I have these captions. Federal government labor meeting deadlock as fuel price is over 700 naira per litre. That's it for coming from the Punch newspaper. I still move to business day as subsidy goes. Nigerians demand cut in governance cost. As subsidy goes, Nigerians demand cut in governance cost. How you react that?
We have been saying it before that even why are we having two chamber assembly? We can have only one unicameral assembly. You reduce the number of these people you are spending money on, appointees, all these extra costs, obviously everything will be reduced. Then you divide the money to the social programs for the social intervention for the benefit of the people. So unless you don't do that, there are so many agencies that are doing almost the same thing, and practically one of them are doing nothing, and they are collecting money, budget every year. So that is more to say why we have moribund, non-working economic system in Nigeria. You do the cost, even the payments being given to each of these public soldiers, you do it drastically. This is a very urgent and austere period, and austerity measures, drastic measures, emergency, extraordinary measures was taken. Just as we has removed the subsidy now, they should also drastically introduce certain policies to this political elite.
Okay, all right. Free subsidy removal, posters about $800 million palliatives. Labour's next move as Nigerians brace for higher inflation. 26% of Nigerians financially literate as Botswana leads Africa. OT suspend levies on transport operators in Abia, resetting Nigerians' foreign policy to be giant of Africa again. No work, no pay. Falana sues federal government over alleged unfair treatment of ASU members.
The National Judicial Court has delivered judgment that the strike was illegal, so that they were not entitled to any payments. So if you now sue them, then so be it, luck to him, because on what ground is he going to ventilate the grievances? He's not a worker, so as an activist, you must convince the court the injury you suffer.
Do you think the ASU are not entitled to their their monthly salary?
They are entitled to, but in the case of 8 months strike, because they know that it was an illegal strike. So, and the only thing they have now, industrial court said their judgment by according to law.
In your own view, why is it illegal? Because at least the warnings has been given to the federal government that they will embark on strike, and nothing was done before they commenced.
And as at the time they went on strike, there was still ongoing negotiations. That was one of the reasons the courts rely on grants. That when we are still ongoing negotiations, even if the negotiations have not materialized as paid, that does not give you to back out from the negotiations. We are now we are on strike. So
it means they have not exploited all the opportunities.
All the mechanisms have not been fully exploited.
To dialogue. All right. Okay. Coming from the News Direct, I have this caption: despite growing frustration, APC governors back Tinubu on subsidy removal. Despite growing frustration, APC governors back Tinubu on free subsidy removal. NNPCL adopts average price of 500 naira per litre. Transportation cost hiked by over 50% in Lagos. Will it be only Lagos? Won't other states be affected as a result of hiking the cost of fuel?
Well,
what will be the impact on transportation?
Yeah, Lagos will be heavily affected in terms of populations.
Okay.
But in terms of their being close to these refineries, the price will be cheaper than any other place, like the remote place in Nigeria, Sampara, all this place.
Yeah, because so, Lagos, I think the template given to Lagos, the price is about 480 naira per litre. Here in Osun is 500 naira per litre.
In those areas where they have depot very close to them, like Port Harcourt, it will be cheaper. Because you lift the oil from that place to Kaduna or to another place, all this tanker, it is another personal cost for them.
Okay.
Yeah. But each of the governor that just back the policy of the president, they must do something within their states. This APC governor, they must do something.
Okay. All right. Still on that, increase in fuel price will accelerate inflation.
Of course. If there is increase in the fuel price, it will increase, affect other areas. Transport will be affected, production cost will be affected. Some are using diesel, part of the petroleum. It also affects the cost of production, and they will put it on the final product they produce. What you bought 5 naira before is now maybe 15 naira, 3 times.
And just find
even as we are saying now, there are still some marketers that are selling their own at the old price. Because they have not possessed another petrol. The one they have on ground, it was based on the former status quo. So why are you, most of you now change the price? Because of the greediness.
And there's a news now in circulation that the CBN also has deregulated the naira. As at now, I think it's 630 naira per dollar. So it comes true. With that one also not.
No, you cannot. It's the market forces that what they are trying to do is that the value of the naira will be stronger.
Okay.
But if what you produce that make your naira to be stronger, what you will export, how people demand for your product, then you cannot say, okay, my naira has gone beyond this, so it's now raised this to your own currency. But you just use theoretical something that, okay, it's not. In reality, the market forces will determine.
All right, just a template. Okay, NSC rejects pricing template. Like I said, 2023 budget implementation. New governors lament over multi-trillion naira debts of predecessors. 2023 budget implementation. New governors lament over multi-trillion naira debts of predecessors. You see, we have as the federal government is accumulating debts due to the state government. What's the way out? Will it have any effects on the development of the state and the country?
Yes, it must have. Definitely. The new governors, by those that are coming for the first time, that means they have onerous duty to perform on them already. So they have to think out of the box, and they have to hit the ground running on time. And also NNPC that said they are even, I just recollect that they are giving price. It has been privatized now. It was not like a public utility rendering social services. They are also making profit. So how are you now going to impose or regulate the other marketers who are also a business making ventures? So it's a contradiction.
All right, still have this caption. You can be expelled, suspended from PDP. Court tells Wike, you know, he went to court.
Yeah.
That's the position of the court.
Because once they follow the procedures, nobody is above the law.
The Senate presidency, Akpabio, aspirations runs into murky waters. I think the deal is shaking.
Yeah.
It's all about politics. Do you agree with me?
The number 3 position is not a teacup affair.
Okay.
So there will be kind of horse trading and
the intrigues and all that is
up to
still
the
ongoing.
last minute. Anything can happen, can change.
Appointment of the incoming Senate president. Daily Independent, Labour rejects new free price, says it's ambush on Nigerians. Open talks with federal government, wants it to go back to status quo. NNPC increases fuel price to 488 naira per litre and 557 per litre. PDP has right to suspend Wike, you have said it. Nigerian aircraft returns to service in Ethiopia Airlines colors. Nigeria aircraft returns to service in Ethiopia Airline colors. That's about Nigerian Airwood.
Yes, the one they brought at the last minute.
Okay.
So even the NSC ought to have embarked on strike.
It has returned to
before they remove the subsidy.
It has returned to Ethiopia now.
Yes,
for repairs.
It's very, very funny when you say Nigerian Airways and underneath they saw Ethiopia.
Can't we train Nigerians who will be helping in the maintenance of the aircraft?
That's what we are saying. We have so many people that are qualified, but because of the fact that we don't even believe in ourselves. So why are you now losing at the last minute? You want to have Nigerian Airways since 2015. You have not done that.
And that is also capital flight.
It's capital flight now to another country.
And it also suggests are we progressing?
And you think your kind of currency will be strong.
It also tells on whether adequate preparation has been made before.
I don't know whether they have a very careful thinking policy.
All right. Okay. This is the convenient point to draw curtains of today's presentation. Tomorrow, by the same time, join my colleagues. Wishing you a pleasant working day. Take special thanks to my guests. Thank you for coming on the program.
I'm highly elated.
Okay. I'm saying bye for now.